my soul, and flit, uttering their lamentations, around me. What is it you seek of me, O Russia? What is the hidden bond which subsists between us? Why do you regard me as you do? Why does everything within you turn upon me eyes full of yearning? Even at this moment, as I stand dumbly, fixedly, perplexedly contemplating your vastness, a menacing cloud, charged with gathering rain, seems to overshadow my head. What is it that your boundless expanses presage? Do they not presage that one day there will arise in you ideas as boundless as yourself? Do they not presage that one day you too will know no limits? Do they not presage that one day, when again you shall have room for their exploits, there will spring to life the heroes of old? How the power of your immensity enfolds me, and reverberates through all my being with a wild strange spell, and flashes in my eyes with an almost supernatural radiance! Yes, a strange, brilliant, unearthly vista indeed do you disclose, O Russia, country of mine! "Stop! Stop, you fool!" shouted Chichikov to Selifan, and even as he spoke a troika bound on government business came chattering by and disappeared in a cloud of dust. To Chichikov's curses at Selifan for not having drawn out of the way with more alacrity, a rural constable with moustaches of the length of an arshin added his quota. What a curious and attractive, yet also what an unreal fascination the term highway connotes! And how interesting for its own sake is a highway! Should the day be a fine one, though chilly, in mellowing autumn, press closer your travelling cloak and draw down your cap over your ears, and snuggle cosily, comfortably into a corner of the britchka before a last shiver shall course through your limbs, and the ensuing warmth shall put to flight the autumnal cold and damp. As the horses gallop on their way, how delightfully will drowsiness come stealing upon you, and make your eyelids droop! For a while, through your somnolence, you will continue to hear the hard breathing of the team and the rumbling of the wheels, but at length, sinking back into your corner, you will relapse into the stage of snoring. And when you awake, behold, you will find that 5 stages have slipped away, and that the moon is shining, and that you have reached a strange town of churches, and old wooden cupolas, and blackened spires, and white half-timbered houses. And as the moonlight glints hither and thither, almost you will believe that the walls and the streets and the pavements of the place are spread with sheets shot with coal-black shadows which make the wooden roofs look all the brighter under the slanting beams of the pale luminary. Nowhere is a soul to be seen, for every one is plunged in slumber. Yet no. In a solitary window a light is flickering where some good burgher is mending his boots, or a baker drawing a batch of dough. O night and powers of heaven, how perfect is the blackness of your infinite vault! How lofty, how remote its inaccessible depths, where it lies spread in an intangible yet audible silence! Freshly does the lulling breath of night blow in your face, until once more you relapse into snoring oblivion, and your poor neighbour turns angrily in his corner as he begins to be conscious of your weight. Then again you awake, but this time to find yourself confronted with only fields and steppes. Everywhere in the ascendant is the desolation of space. But suddenly the ciphers on a versed stone leap to the eye, morning is rising, and on the chill, gradually paling line of the horizon you can see gleaming a faint gold streak. The wind freshens and grows keener, and you snuggle closer in your cloak. Yet how glorious is that freshness, and how marvellous the sleep in which once again you become enfolded! A jolt, and for the last time you return to consciousness. By now the sun is high in the heavens, and you hear a voice cry, "Gently, gently," as a farm wagon issues from a by-road. Below, enclosed within an ample dike, stretches a sheet of water which glistens like copper in the sunlight. Beyond, on the side of a slope, lie some scattered peasants' huts, a manor house, and, flanking the latter, a village church with its cross flashing like a star. There also comes wafted to your ear the sound of peasants' laughter, while in your inner man you are becoming conscious of an appetite which is not to be withstood. O long-drawn highway, how excellent you are! How often have I in weariness and despondency set forth upon your length, and found in you salvation and rest! How often, as I have followed your leading, have I been visited with wonderful thoughts and poetic dreams and curious wild impressions!" At this moment our friend Chichikov also was experiencing visions of a not wholly prosaic nature. Let us peep into his soul and share them. At first he remained unconscious of anything whatsoever, for he was too much engaged in making sure that he was really clear of the town. But as soon as he saw that it had completely disappeared, with its mills and factories and other urban appurtenances, and that even the steeples of the white stone churches had sunk below the horizon, he turned his attention to the road, and the town of N vanished from his thoughts as completely as though he had not seen it since childhood. Again in its turn the road ceased to interest him, and he began to close his eyes and to loll his head against the cushions. Of this let the author take advantage in order to speak at length concerning his hero, since hitherto he, the author, has been prevented from so doing by Nozdrev and balls and ladies and local intrigues, by those thousand trifles which seem trifles only when they are introduced into a book, but which, in life, figure as affairs of importance. Let us lay them aside and betake ourselves to business. Whether the character whom I have selected for my hero has pleased my readers is, of course, exceedingly doubtful. At all events, the ladies will have failed to approve him, for the fair sex demands in a hero perfection, and, should there be the least mental or physical stain on him, well, woe betide. Yes, no matter how profoundly the author may probe that hero's soul, no matter how clearly he may portray his figure as in a mirror, he will be given no credit for the achievement. Indeed, Chichikov's very stoutness and plenitude of years may have militated against him, for never is a hero pardoned for the former, and the majority of ladies will, in such a case, turn away and mutter to themselves, "Phew, what a beast!" Yes, the author is well aware of this. Yet, though he could not, to save his life, take a person of virtue for his principal character, it may be that this story contains themes never before selected, and that in it there projects the whole boundless wealth of Russian psychology; that it portrays, as well as Chichikov, the peasant who is gifted with the virtues which God has sent him, and the marvellous maiden of Russia who has not her like in all the world for her beautiful feminine spirituality, the roots of which lie buried in noble aspirations and boundless self-denial. In fact, compared with these types, the virtues of other races seem lifeless, as does an inanimate volume when compared with a living word. Yes, each time that there arises in Russia a movement of thought, it becomes clear that the movement sinks deep into the Slavonic nature, where it would but have skimmed the surface of other nations. But why am I talking like this? Whither am I tending? It is indeed shameful that an author who long ago reached man's estate, and was brought up to a course of severe introspection and sober, solitary self-enlightenment, should give way to such jejune wandering from the point. To everything its proper time and place and turn. As I was saying, it does not lie in me to take a virtuous character for my hero, and I will tell you why. It is because it is high time that a rest were given to the poor but virtuous individual. It is because the phrase "a man of worth" has grown into a byword. It is because the man of worth has become converted into a horse, and there is not a writer but rides him and flogs him in and out of season. It is because the man of worth has been starved until he has not a shred of his virtue left, and all that remains of his body is but the ribs and the hide. It is because the man of worth is for ever being smuggled upon the scene. It is because the man of worth has at length forfeited every one's respect. For these reasons do I reaffirm that it is high time to yoke a rascal to the shafts. Let us yoke that rascal. Our hero's beginnings were both modest and obscure. True, his parents were dvorian, but he in no way resembled them. At all events, a short, squab female relative who was present at his birth exclaimed as she lifted up the baby, "He's altogether different from what I had expected him to be. He ought to have taken after his maternal grandmother, whereas he has been born, as the proverb has it, like not father nor mother, but like a chance passer-by." Thus from the first, life regarded the little Chichikov with sour distaste, and as through a dim, frost-encrusted window. A tiny room with diminutive casements which were never opened, summer or winter, an invalid father in a dressing-gown lined with lambskin, and with an ailing foot swathed in bandages, a man who was continually drawing deep breaths and walking up and down the room, and spitting into a sand box.